Hi, and thank you all for joining us today. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. I have come for you in my control.
Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it.
Welcome to Paratruth.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, any last wish before you die? Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, fill your claw, you son of a bitch. Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Man, it's a lot of work to get in on this damn show. Welcome, everybody, to UFO Undercover. We have Dolly Safran with us tonight. Some of y'all should be familiar with who she is. If not, you're going to find out tonight. She's been around for a couple of days, so we're going to get into some really good stuff as we go on. A couple of things coming up real fast. I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. again for the third time this year. So if any of my friends out there know, no testimony this time, Clark, just something else. It's a little lecture. The other two times were testimony. This time's a lecture. Actually, I seem to make DC quite a lot. DC and LA, I seem to get to quite a lot. I don't know what that's about, but I'm always willing to go, especially when they're paying me. Hey, look, I always like paid gigs. It's always more fun. What's that, Stephanie? Oh, no, that's a whole different thing. That's something I do for Writers of the Future. Yeah, has nothing to do with that. Whole entire different kind of gig. Yeah, and that's also in LA. Well, I don't know. This year they're talking about having it in Cape Canaveral. Every now and then they bring it down to the Cape, and they do it down there, which is I would love that. I would never get any work done with the winners because I'd be too busy chasing astronauts around. But I would have a really good time. But it's always fun wherever they go. I mean, they take really good care of you, and it's just a lot of fun. If before we go, if you're an author or an illustrator, I would go to writersoffuture.com. You can submit 4 times a year. If you win, all the paid trip to LA. You get to go out and get to hang out and get to meet all the famous writers in the world and or all the famous illustrators in the world and all those wonderful people. But anyway, on that note, we're going to, well, Jay just popped in. Where did he come from? The devil himself. Jay, have you met Dolly?
Hey, Dolly, we haven't met yet, no.
Nice to meet
Dolly,
you.
Dolly, Jay. He's insane. So I just want to talk a little bit about just experiences tonight. I know you and I have talked about it before, and I've heard you talking about it on, what's that woman's name? Michelle. Who is that woman?
Oh, God, yeah. Who is that?
Who the hell is that? I don't.
Something of the Roses.
She manages the station. I think. Who the hell is it? Michelle DeRoche, one of my favorite people on the planet. She does such a wonderful job for me. She makes my life so much easier than it used to be. I just want to hug her every time I see her, which I'll see her later tonight. But anyway, Dolly, welcome. Nice to have you here with the crazy people. Just be glad it's only us two crazies tonight.
Oh God, yeah. You don't want to come in on the news on the flip side of the chat.
Oh, the chat. Oh my God, them people are nuts. Yeah, you never. The problem with the chat is you never know who's going to show up. I mean, it's an open show for the whole entire station. You just never know who's going to be there. Hell, it's already gotten one host fired. I don't even know. It's an insane show. Oh, Christopher, it's just actually it's no, it's not really a political show. It's more about just life in general. We talk about everything. We talk about ET. We talk about
show.
food.
If it was what's that one with the girls? It's Jerry Seinfeld's show. If it was The View, but with men and no set subject.
Yes, because food comes up a lot somehow or another, and it still has ratings, which amazes me. It comes right up in the middle of it all the time. Hold on, Dees. One more question. What? Hey, Kurt. Oh no! I won't. You mean me? I won't be in LA till April. Maybe somebody offered me to come out in December, but we give away a lot of stuff in December. I don't think I'm going to have time. You see all those books behind me? All that stuff's got to be given away. This case is sitting on the floor next to me, so we give away a lot of books. We give away a lot of everything. We give away lightsabers, and we give away things like these things. We give away all kind of stuff. So if you're around, we give it away. Well, sometimes the host comes on with me and helps me give it away. The lightsabers are a blast. I met him at FanX. And they're out of the UK. They are, man. Them Kyle Ren things are $1,000, $1,100. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah, they're fun. But anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. Dolly, how are you tonight? How's everybody treating you?
You're muted, Dolly.
You don't have your
mic.
Yeah, that happens to me, man. I'm wondering.
Hey, I still can't hear you. What's going on?
We're having trouble hearing you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you go. I heard you.
There we go.
I was going to say, we were talking great before we got live. It's kind of strange here.
Yeah, you got to remember, NSA will hang me up on you multiple times depending on what I'm talking about. Just saying what happened. Okay, go ahead.
So, no, I was just asking you, how's everybody treating you? Life being nice to you? I know your other half. He's taking care of you, being nice to you. I'll stick one of my chihuahuas on him.
Yeah.
I think Dennett in the chat room.
Yeah, he should be. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Preston. I haven't met him yet either, I don't think. But yeah.
You get to meet him soon. Preston's a nice guy.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him in a long time until I seen him in at the gala. What was it? 2 years ago?
Yeah, we went. Well, you saw him personally when we went to the Writers of the Future thing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I've seen him at other conferences. And he's been. Preston's been around a good time. He's always fun to talk to. He's always got a wealth of information. But anyway, we'll talk about Preston later. We love you, Preston, but we want to talk to Dolly.
Yeah, he's on next week, isn't he?
You'd be giving away surprises, man. Anyway, so Dolly, first off, before we even talk, because I know we have experiences I want to get into later in the show, but just what drove you to go public? What was it that said, okay, Dolly, I want to go out in the world and talk about this, because like I know, it's never easy when you go public. Everybody's got to criticize and so on and so forth.
I made the decision about a year and a half before I contacted Preston, and my ET compatriots did not want me to go without knowledge. Okay, so they briefed me for a while about what to expect. They said, and it's basically because I paid no attention to what was going on around me back then at all. Y'all were just flitting around and doing your thing, and I had no clue, none. And when I decided because I started listening to the world, and I started listening to what was being said, and I started paying attention to education on this planet and what everybody was learning or not learning. And there was a lot of lying going on everywhere and multiple layers of it. And I knew from my father that this was a thing, but he never stressed it on me because he let me do what I do. And I started discussing it with my ET families. And they basically said that this is concerning. They had plans to try to bring disclosure about by just showing up a couple times for certain things. And blithely, we watched the government lock down on it so fast it made their heads pop back. And they decided, and that's when my brain went, nope, not doing this. I'm from here. Okay. This is my planet. And frankly pissed me off. So I decided to start talking. The truth had to come out. And I started looking for somebody and couldn't find them. The best, without sounding mean or anything. I mean, God bless them. They are a good guys, you know, but they're just not exactly on the factoid, a real true fact thing is the Cousins brothers. Okay. And I won't name their show. And if you know who the Cousins brothers are, then you know the show. And I was very frustrated. And that's when my Talata sat me down and said, write the name down, Preston Dennett, and don't forget it, look him up. So I did. And I looked for his videos first. I found his website, found his videos. And now I'm still on the fence, all right, because I haven't really found anybody yet. I'm not sure that anybody's worth talking to at this point. And I saw his videos on healing. They were way back when. And he's very data-driven. And I thought, this is good, okay? This makes him as honest as I've heard anybody. And I contacted him. Within 24 hours, he had me back an email with him, and it just went from there. And the more I learned to trust that he was going to be the right fit for me bringing my experiences to, the better off I was. And so from 2016 to 2021, he was collecting data on me and interviewing me that hundreds of hours. And then I finally met him in 2021 at Laughlin, mega UFO con. And that was the deciding factor the day I met him. And I went, okay, this is good. Okay. And I had ET backing me up as well. They said that they would be with me as long as they could, you know, and it's personal to me because I don't like being, I'm a military brat. I've seen it all. Okay. I've been in the military. I've worked for the government. I've seen all of it or at least enough of it to know the truth about how this all operates. And somebody just needs to bring common sense and to tell the truth and just be factual. And that's why I came out. You know,
that's what got me in trouble with ufology early on, because I believed in data-driven stuff. It's one of the reasons I liked Preston. I've been doing Preston for a while. I've told many people about Preston over the years. I say he's trustworthy. He's a nice guy. You know, drop him a line, give him a call, see if you can talk to him. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people in the field, but in the early days, see, my problem was when I started Wake Up USA, nobody wanted to hear the word alien contact or alien abduction. Matter of fact, Viola Harris quit speaking to me because I brought it up on the show. 2 years she wouldn't talk to me. Well, I seen it at Roswell 60th and I gave her a hug. So then she invited me to the all-women's conference in Stevensville. But I mean, she was mad at me. Richard Dalton, a whole bunch of them. Wow. Nobody wanted to. If you can go back and listen to him for 4 years, I couldn't get anybody in the field, nobody with any credibility or any name, I should say, to speak about it. Now, I heard Preston talk about it, but I never heard anybody else talk about it. And then finally, I'm sitting there listening to radio. All of a sudden, she's all into the alien abduction. Richard, all of a sudden, they all flip-flopped. Now, it didn't bother me so much, but when I hear them talk a lot of times, they're using stuff that I told them back on Wake Up USA. So it irritates me a little bit. But hey, look, if they're doing it, it's much better than they weren't doing it. But still, I'm kind of fact-driven. I like facts, you know. ICAR's based on facts. The whole organization is, and it's because there are some facts in this. Not everything. Some things are a little impossible to get your hands on. I mean, I can talk to the ETs. I can't drag them in. Like, hey, let's go out in Washington and show you. And they're not really big on that. But can you blame them in the governments we have in the last decade or two? If I was the ET, I wouldn't be wanting to get myself out in the public. I can tell you that. But it's a good thing. I mean, it's hard to find good people. You found somebody. Preston's trustworthy. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. Probably the nicest guy in ufology. While we were talking, I was trying to think, is anybody nicer than him? Because I know a lot of people in the field, but all of them have.
Well, I would say Nick Redfern is very much as friendly and nice and data-driven as Preston is.
Okay.
Nick's a nice guy, but I still think Preston's a nicer guy. It's Preston, look, Preston done many shows with me over the year, and he can put up with my pain in the ass self. That tells you right there he's a nice guy. Poor Nick. I drive Nick crazy because Nick's crazy. Nick's a 9 to 5 writer. He gets up on Monday, 9 o'clock, works till 5, writes all week, puts out a new book. And he's got so many different books, I've lost track.
The thing about that's always fascinating me about Nick is that he's not laser focused like most other paranormal researchers. They usually pick one field and they run with it. I am expert with UFO, alien, and Bigfoot. I have seen Bigfoot and I've seen a few UFOs. I'm pretty sure I've seen an alien, but I'm not sure. But when it comes down to it, guys like Nick Redfern that just know everything. I mean, he's done Bigfoot, he's done Yeti, he's done the Slender Man.
He reads a
any
lot.
stuff that you can find in the paranormal realm. He wrote a book on it.
Yeah, because he reads a lot. But he needs to specialize. I told him that last time I talked to him. He needs to specialize in something. So, no, I mean, so you know, we're talking about this, and we're talking about Preston and all. But so for you, when do you really, when was it that you said, okay, this is something going on in my life? How do I deal with this?
Ooh, wow, that's
take your time. You got lots of time, so take your time.
I named 3 points in my life where that became an issue for me. The first time was right after I was 19, because I knew what I was doing then. I had accomplished a great deal up to that point, and I was on the precipice of enjoying the fruits of my labor to work with ET. Okay, and but I realized that I needed to become specific in what I had to narrow down in my mind and what I was going to accomplish. And there was a wide open field for me. Many experiences that I had before that kind of gave me a charcuterie board of ufology with them, and I had to pick one. And so that was the first time I really had to sit down and think about what I wanted to do. The second time it hit me was when I was 43, and I was working in the DoD, and things were happening then. This is the second time we were in Iraq, Desert Storm first, and then the second time in Iraq. And it was, 2003. It was January of 2003, and I was sitting in the main post in one of the big conference rooms watching on the big screen, because they put the whole bloody thing up on video for us. We knew what was going on the inside. We watched it happening, especially in the 3rd Brigade and the 75th Ranger Regiment. And I sat there and I thought, this is not what I was taught by a team. This is not. I was in direct conflict with everything that I was raised to understand about humanity and what we should be doing, and we were doing none of it. Okay. And it hit me really hard then. I became laser focused in what I was thinking then, laser focused. By the time I hit 52, it exploded on me, and now that was my birthday night. What year was 52? It was 2008. Okay. And I sat there for an entire day thinking, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I mean, I've put my life in danger before. I'm not afraid of anything. And I had to really accept the fact that if I came out to everybody, if I started blowing the lid off of some stuff and throwing my 2 cents in, that I was going to be turning a leaf that I couldn't walk back on. That was it. I'm walking into the fire and I'm going. And I did it. I decided that was the day. I decided I'm working this out, and that from that day forward, that's the way I've gone.
Well, but that in all fairness to you, that's the way it should be. I mean, too many people, how can I say this, dip their toe in the water and then pull it back, and just their toe, nothing else, just that. And so I tell people all the time, you may not be right, you may be right, you may not agree with somebody, you may not agree with somebody, but if you don't put all the information out there, there is no way for the rest of the researchers to figure out what the frick is actually going on.
Right.
It's because as to date right now, currently we have 134 cases on file that have been. So somebody asked me one time, said, Joe, how could you do so many cases? I said, well, we had 62,000 members. I said, it's only 2 cases a member. It's not even a big deal. And it was way more than that, but they had to go through the cases and decide what the abduction criteria met or not. And then they went through all of them, and then the board went through them. It's a long process, but it was just something to help us to develop something we could use when we met someone who said they had been contacted. because we were trying to cut the time frame down. Is what we were trying to do, and it helps. Don't get me wrong; it does help. It's not 100% perfect, but it does help. And then we were so strict about hypnosis. It's not that we don't use it, but we're just very strict about it because, in someone's case like you, I just recently did a case, and when I ask them, do you want to be hypnotized, and they say yes, well, I'm going to hypnotize them. Now, all I'm going to do is ask you about. You're going to give me a day and a time. That's all I'm going to ask you. And I'm going to let you go through it front to back, and then we're going to stop with the video and the audio. And whoever's with you and us, we're going to sit down and we're going to go over the whole thing and formulate the next line of questioning. Not using the word extraterrestrial spaceship because I can't use those words. You have to use those words. If I use them, then it's useless. So it works really well. And so far, so far it's been about 95% effective. So we do use it. But a lot of the people I found, if they talk to people like you or other people, or if they just get in a group, and they talk, they found that a lot of stuff comes out. It just kind of pours out. And a lot of people don't understand what uploads are. I'm sure you understand. I know you know what they are. It's how do you explain? A download. If you met a new contactee, how would you explain a download to them? I'm just curious.
A download is downloads are conceptual. Okay, loaded with information. They're packed, and there are different levels of it. And the first thing you get from a download is a total concept of something. You're looking at a picture and you see the whole picture at one time, and then it takes you time to unpack what the information that's the data that's in that, and your brain starts working on it, and you go over it back and forth. It's like listening to music. It's never the same thing twice for anybody. You always pick something out of it that you like, and more is involved. You start to hear more, la, 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 la. So you're going with that. And it's all, it can happen. Some people, a download can be unpacked like the day it happens. And then other people, a download can happen a week later or a month later or even a year later. It just depends on the individual and how long they process it or how quickly they process the information. But that's what a download is.
Yes, well, I agree with you. I mean, it takes it for most people. It takes time. They hit it and they see something, and then they're like, "Well, what the hell was that?" and then for it depends on how advanced the contactee is. Let's just be honest, but it starts to download. I mean, it starts to unload, and more. You start to understand whatever it is they're trying to make you understand. You start to understand it better, and because when we talk about different kind of contactees. We kind of level them out now, like communicators and stuff like that. People who are serving a purpose for ET. I hate. It's a bad way of saying it, but it is true. So it's like you're out there telling the world,
Preston has a good point.
Christians use that same concept. They use people who have gifts, right? You have a gift for preaching. You have a gift for praying. You have a gift for serving. Everybody has gifts. Okay, we all do, and ET realizes that it's part of humanity. Even their humanity, they're human like we are, a lot human. And so they will wait to see what your gifts are and then work through that. And that's exactly how they work. Yep.
Yes, and what Preston just said, that's actually true. They can. I mean, because they are very, very, very telepathic.
Yes.
And, but you know what? We've learned to use that against them. So I'm going to tell you a little secret. The rookies, don't go try this, okay? Because you're going to end up getting hurt. But so when we find out, when we get one of those pieces of information that we just can't figure out what the hell it is, I will call, or one of the directors will call 50 of the contactees who don't know each other. They will send them a question and tell them just play it in your head, play it in your head, play it in your head. Especially the Grays. Grays answer things without thinking about it sometimes. But there can be penalties for this, ladies and gentlemen. So a lot of questions they will answer and say, okay, ooh, look, my contactee got something, or sometimes they'll be like, well, you weren't supposed to know that. And that can be very painful on the other side. So just be careful. But we have used it to find out what blue plasmas were and all sorts of other things. It works really well. But you need a decent sized group. So when you get 50 people that don't know each other, that came back and give you all the same answer almost exactly, you're like, oh shit, I got something good. Right. So in your case, so with you, I usually put you in the communicator / teacher category is where I like to put you more comfortably, because you are communicating out to the world and you are saying this, but you do stop sometimes to explain something to somebody and say, hey, okay, now don't get stupid. Let's talk about this a little bit, because you've been through it, you understand it. And
Right.
And a lot of people just, especially the rookies, they just don't get it. They know something's happened to them, and they're all like fidgety and jumpy, and because nobody will talk to them, and
Right.
then they're like, well, who can I trust? Who can I believe? Well, that's another problem.
Yeah. I like to turn that around on people. If you're having a hard time understanding what just happened to you, if you're in that oh my God, is it real? Is it not? How do I express this? I was afraid, but I'm not sure I should have been. It's whatever they're feeling. They can go through 1,000 different emotions in 5 seconds. Okay. And generally what I try to teach people, and I am a teacher as well, that's true. You nailed me for that, is that I say you have to sit down and calmly repeat the experience in your own mind, write it down, relive it calmly. You're in a safe place. Nobody's coming to get you again or any of that. But sit down and write it down, or talk into a tape recorder, your phone, phone memo, and calmly go through it again and get all the nuances of it. And then you shine the mental light on it. You try to figure out or try to understand or research through what everything was, what it meant, and why. Okay. And then if you can't answer all of those questions, then you go find a very experienced experiencer or somebody who's in the field who can help you ferret those questions through, or send you resources, or send you in the right direction. It's all an experience. It's an experience from both sides. The experiencer just doesn't experience ET. They experience what comes after and where they're going to go with that. And it's up to everybody to go with that. That's the only thing ET wants. Why would they come here and give you an experience if they didn't want you to hatch it out?
That's true. It's 100% true. I remember the first time I ever mentioned download on Wake Up USA, every ufologist in the field told me I was crazy. Everyone. Okay. I was like, really? I said, you know what I said? I said, give it a decade and we'll see. Because I don't think it was a new thing. I just think we were one of the first ones that realized it was going on. Because people kept telling me, Joe, I got all this information in my head and I don't know where it came from. Or, you know what I find most interesting is how many contactees are above their school grade learning.
Yeah.
They have information in their head is far above wherever they could be, college, high school, it doesn't really matter. It's always far above wherever they got to
that for you. I've been, and Joe only gives me credit from when I was 18, but I've actually been looking at this subject since I was like 7 or 8. And when I was 8, they tested me for IQ test, and they gave me all kinds of range of tests for both mathematics, problem solving, the funny like ink blot tests, and reading and comprehension. And at the end of it, they told me that my number was 186, and I'm 8 years old, and I think I was in 6th grade. And They told me I had the working knowledge of a graduating high school senior. I'm in 6th grade. How many 6-year-olds know what a senior in high school knows? I guess I knew.
That's a combination of the downloads and other things too. Also, it has to do with, when they're doing in family lines, it also kind of piles on, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Better,
all of that, yeah.
So
a lot of have families that are literally walking boxes of education. Okay. Personally, in my family, we had an entire living room full of books. It was mostly encyclopedias, medical dictionaries. It was,
my parents' house was the same.
Science, energy, you name it, physics, all of it, astronomy, you name it, was in the house in a book. And we were encouraged to read anything we wanted, whenever we wanted. And we were taken to classes to wherever we wanted to go, whatever we were interested in. And not everybody does that, but I'll tell you what, experiencers are on the top of the list for that. And it's because you not only have ET working with the kids, you have mom and dad doing it too, because they're probably experiencers as well. Yeah. It's generational. Okay. It's coming through.
It is. I think back whenever this started, how many ever thousands, 10,000, 100,000, how many thousands of years ago it started, and a group of people they picked and working those kids, those generations forward. What we found out is it is kind of creating a gap between the rest of the people on the planet. When you go through a contactee group, you find that they're quite a bit smarter, a lot faster. Even though some of them are nervous and edgy because of things that have happened to them, they tend to be generally smarter in general. But Sometimes it's a little much for an individual. Their nerves take over. They break down. They have a hard time. I always tell them, I said, look, I'm not a psychologist. I can only help you so far when it comes to stuff like that. I said, if you talk your experience out, it will get better every time. And I said, what's that, Christopher? We'll talk about millabs in a minute. Let's finish what we're talking about. But it does feel like, it's a long-term generational thing. And they feel like, I mean, ET's looking like, I hate to say it this way, but they look like they're creating a subpopulation inside the current population on the planet. I don't know how else to say it.
But also, they must be looking for something specific, because why
No,
else?
I don't think they're looking for something. I think they're developing something.
Yeah,
I
but why
think
would
there's
you
a
do that?
war going on of mind here. Okay, I think that the governments on this planet know all this already. Okay, and I think that the population is dumbed down somewhat. So we have a rift going on. Okay, ET's working on it, and they're working on it too from the other side. And they're looking for intelligent people too, but they're building a different kind of intelligence among people. And emotional intelligence is not one of those things. Everybody who lives on this planet is usually emotionally wrecked with all kinds of stuff that they've seen, heard, or lived through on this planet that causes way more anxiety than ET ever thought of doing to anybody. Okay, I want everybody to get straight on that. We are as bad as anything else on this planet for messing with people's heads and sending them down roads they shouldn't be going down. Okay, and education is one of them, because if you tell somebody that you can't do this, or you're not economically straight enough to do this, I mean, the list is so long. I could spend an hour just naming every bloody reason why we're messed up on this planet. Okay, that's true. You know,
it is true. That's why I was laughing.
Yeah, and so when we look at the divide happening, it is a divide. It is a huge divide, and it's because we have abilities. You've got a pineal gland that's gummed up. You know that. You know, people aren't able to express out what they actually are born with to use, and the divide is getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
You know, it reminds me of when ladies and gentlemen, in case y'all didn't notice, the Air Force and the Navy in 2020 or 2021 actually started hiring psychics. They dropped their remote viewing program, and remote viewing has worked, but not the way a telepath can work. So, and they started looking for telepaths. Now, if you qualify, they pay you really well. But let me ask you this: do you want to work for the government? So I'm going to tell you what they do with this. Since you brought up millabs a minute ago, one of their favorite things is, if they want to try to control like one of the three of us, they're going to use a sodium pentothal, sodium androthal, and a passive scan from a telepath. So now, unfortunately for them, anybody who's had long-term ET contact, it's probably not going to work. It might work in the very beginning, but it's not now. If they're just coming out, or there's somebody else, it'll work very well. But long-term contactees, it's hard because their brains are so used to telepathic communication with ET. It makes it hard for them to be able to do it.
You can try to mess with the physical mind, but the consciousness is aware of everything, still communicating with the physical mind. And it's really hard for a long-time contactee to be messed with that way. You can dope me or whatever, but my consciousness is in full operation, and it's completely running this car right now. Okay, and that's making it hard for them. You know.
Yeah, it'll work just long enough to drop you back off at the house. That's how long it's going to work. No, Christopher, no. So you can this has been a thing they've been using for a long thing. The sodium androthal, sodium pentothal, along with hypnosis, has been being used for decades. Now what they're trying to do is use the hypnosis with telepathy. So they're really trying to double down on this, because unfortunately they're doing things to our citizens that they don't want you to know about.
Right.
And the average citizen's not going to be able to hold up to it. They'll cave. But when I'm doing hypnosis, I can tell if that's happened or not, and I will break them. If I don't think it's going to cause harm to the individual. Now, Jimmy, in millabs are different in the fact that, one, there's only a few ways millabs work. Like, we go all the way back to Betty and Barney Hill. The reason I knew the Hills was a millab case when they were in the United States at the time was because they had an Air Force Colonel living with Barney. He had known several growing up, and Barney had been in and out of, I'm going to say this politely, mental institutions his whole entire life, because he didn't know what to do with it. So the government knew he had been taken. When he was taken in Canada, they brought him back, and he came back to the United States. They picked him up, and they did everything they can to find out what was going on. So the reason I brought it up like that is because that's one way they can find you, is if you've been in mental institutions. The other way is if you come public. Now, coming public is much different for advanced contactees than it is just for babies or rookies, okay? So advanced contactees, yeah, they want to get in your head, but it's going to be much harder for them to do so. Plus, sometimes ET takes a dim view of it, and then there may be repercussions for the people who picked you up. It's just one of the things. Now, other contactees who might have remembered something like how an engine works or driving a ship but this one thing, they will take you, they will put you on to see what information you can give them about what the ship looks like inside, anything they can find out, they're going to try to get, and then they'll put you back under hypnosis and drop you back off. Well, if you're a rookie, you're really not going to know that happened, but if you're an advanced, you're going to actually, most advanced contactees have a tendency to fight it. And I think that's what ET knows, because especially the Greys, they keep a 24-hour link with you. If they feel like their person's in stress, they may do something not so nice. I'm not going to get into depth because it's not really pretty. It's not really nice. But they may do something. You ever see that movie Taken? Yeah, they may do something like that.
Joe, I've lived it. In 2019, I lived it. They tried to on me. My daughter and her husband were in Rockville, near Tallahassee at a promoter thing. He was a promoter and for bands or whatever. And I was in the house alone. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Talata wakes me up. He said, "Look out the window, get out of the room now." And I looked out the window, and there's a guy all in black, and he's working on getting the window open to get me. Okay, I was up on the second floor, and the porch overhang was in front of my window, and it was solid. He could walk on it easily. And I got up and I walked out the door and I left it cracked. I looked, and he bloody knocked him off the top of that thing and threw him to the ground. Okay. And when the guy landed on his back, that's when I ran in the room and looked down. And the next thing I saw was that car go up. He emptied the car. It caught fire, and 4 guys jumped out of the car, literally trying not to catch on fire with the car. For 3.5 hours, I watched police, Secret Service, all kinds of stuff outside my window. I have it on film. I filmed it for Preston. Okay. Go after him. And Talata point blank, let them know in no uncertain terms, he made direct contact with them and said, "Touch or not, or it will go badly for you forever. That's it. We're done." And he stopped.
They're very, very funny about it. They're very protective. People always think they're here to kill us or eat us or do that and the other thing, but they don't understand. They put a lot of work into this generational stuff. It's been going on for a long time for them, and they don't really take kindly to anyone messing with them. And I know you think them little Grays people are weak, but they are not. Them some bitches are strong. I mean, they can pick me up. I'm 250.
They don't have any muscle on them, from what I understand.
They have the ability to lift you with their mind. They don't need
exactly.
muscle.
They could maybe grab you with their arm and make it seem like they're throwing you with their arm, but it's the brain power. Yeah, it's brain power.
Plus, they creep me out when they walk on the roof and shit like that. But hey, I guess wherever they come from, that's the thing.
The really scariest thing about them is that they can do that. I mean, Spock said it the best. I mean, he says that their mind power is so powerful that they can make any one of us reach out and touch the wrong button, push the wrong switch, or do the wrong sequence of events, and it's over.
Yeah.
That quickly.
Now, ask yourself why they haven't done it. That's the point I would like to make right here.
Well, why haven't they done it? So,
whatever it is they're doing, they're still doing it. They're still looking for it. They haven't found it, or whatever they're doing, it hasn't come yet.
Yeah, when you're that smart, when you're that advanced, they know where everything is. They know what everyone says. They read your mind freely. It's not a problem.
Oh yeah, there's nobody blocking them from.
You cannot block them at all. Nobody can. What they are doing is they are watching us, trying to fathom why we will not stop being
idiots.
Yes, thank you. That's the nice way to say it. Thank you. I was going to say something else. We're absolutely. We weaponize everything we touch.
Oh, yeah.
We have serious genetic issues with that. And it's in our DNA to be this stupid, okay? And they're waiting for us to change. They're waiting for us to turn ourselves around.
Yes, we got to get rid of that stupid gene.
Yeah.
That's a friend of mine asked me one day, he said, well, if we started nuking us, would they save us? I said, no. I said, they'll save their contactees, but the rest of you are going to bite it. He said, no, you're kidding me. I said, no, I said, did they ever stop? I said, did they stop World War II? No. So did they stop Chernobyl? No. Did they stop 3 Mile Island? No. Did they stop Fukushima?
There are a
No.
few spaced out stories, or sparsed out, not spaced out, but a few sparsed out stories from World War II of the Foo Fighters, both helping the Germans and also helping the Allies. So if they did help, they were only helping certain genetic bloodlines from either side that they didn't want dead.
Yeah, they what their contactee did. That's all that is.
Right. Exactly.
Most of the time, they would just pull them out to craft, but it gets. They've been doing this. I think that's the hardest. Well, this is what's confusing, though. So we know the reptilians and humans have been around here longer than the Greys, but it always bothered me. I think the Greys just got stuck here because you see, just before Christ is born, and I can't remember the name of the temple. There's a Grey in the temple. There's just one. And he's standing, and then later on there's another hieroglyph that's 3, because they usually work in 3s anyway. So somewhere around that time is when they decided to, okay, you guys are acting like idiots. We've had enough of this. You're not going to start an interstellar war over this planet. It's not going to happen. And so they got involved. But what I was always told when I first got in the field was, oh, they work. Hey, man, they work for the reptilians. They work for the humans. And I used to believe that when I first got in the field. Then I found out that for many contactees, they'd be like, "Oh no, Joe." They put their heads down when they see a Grey. Like, please don't smash me into atoms. I was like, what? I said, you're talking like a 7, 8, 9 foot reptilian weighing 700 pounds, 800 pounds. And he's putting his head down. It's like, yeah, he's putting his head down. He ain't looking at that Grey. He didn't have nothing to do with that Grey. Used to crack me up when I'd hear them stories. I still hear them, but in the human aliens were the same way.
SG-1, the TV show, the Greys, the Thor and his race, the Asgardians, which are the great people in this universe, they're tremendously powerful. Even without their brain power, they have tremendous technological power.
I have a question. Wait. I have a question because you just piqued my interest big time. Because you used the word, and I'm going to challenge it. Asgardians, where are they from?
Well, the fictional Asgardians are in the TV show Stargate SG-1, and they're from another galaxy. And I don't remember which galaxy they're from in that. Okay. It's 10 seasons long, so
I see.
He's
talking about a TV show.
Okay.
But it's a fantastic TV show where they portray the Grey aliens as this race called the Asgardians with super high tech, faster than light travel, material transportation. I mean, just like Star Trek, but far more superior than even the Star Trek era.
What race talks about them on our planet? Oh, the Thors. I mean, the Vikings talk about them. Yeah. I was just thinking about that. They actually mention them by name. The Thor's race does. They never tell you what they look like, but they always mention them by name, which I always thought was kind of strange. It's kind of strange too because you didn't.
I am a Viking by birth, just so you know. I'm 80% Viking. I'm my Laplander Viking, okay, and my great grandmother was a shaman, okay, and Thor is pronounced Tor, okay. There are legends about Thor, and yes, they mention a being that is from our galaxy, actually, coming here from time to time and hanging out and seeing what the heck's going on, and will intervene from time to time. But it's all way back when, not even in this iteration. We got 12,000 years on us right now. It was way before that, okay, that they know about it. So, saying.
That makes sense, because somewhere along the line, they limited it to very few races are here anymore. They really limited it to the Greys, reptilians, humans, light beings, the whites, and the browns. But I hate calling them like that. But it's like they almost put a stop sign up and said, okay, look, the human race is blanked up enough. Okay, we don't need nobody else from the galaxy coming in and screwing shit up. Let's get them halfway fixed. No, Dean, I'm telling you, if Russia and the United States got into a nuclear war tomorrow, they would remove their contactees, and everybody else, well, I don't know what to tell you. You'd be adios amigos. Whoever survives. I don't even know if they bring them back yet, because we know a lot of contactees are taken at death. So they put them in a hush body, so they take them off world.
They are.
Well, it's different. Think about this. So you've been working on a race for hundreds of years, thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, 100,000 years. So one of them dies. They have up to 3 days to basically take their consciousness They have several things they can do with it. They can put it like in a holothane. They can put it in a computer. Most of the time, they put it in what they like to call a husk body, not a host body, but a husk body.
A temporary transportation device.
Well, it's usually made from genes from the family, and then those bodies are much more powerful than ours are. Where they're sending you, I don't know. Maybe Dolly knows.
They don't take you. You're allowed to make the choice, and it's temporary. And it's because when you die, you go on and you go to another life. Okay, and you pretty much got to go through all kinds of stuff before you make that decision again to relive somewhere else. And if they feel like they need a little bit more time, they're given a little bit more time. And yeah, they have the ability to do that, but it isn't them taking you against your will. Everybody's autonomous, and you get to choose. And it's not as common as you would think it is. It's not. A lot of people have heard this from ETs from time to time, and then what's the word? Expounded upon information with mythological ideas. Okay, and it's not completely true the way you're saying it. We are autonomous beings. Everybody is, so are they. We come from the same place. We all belong in source together. We are in the universe together. We're all related to one another. And if they haven't finished what they consider their life mission, they can take a short amount of time because they're that advanced to finish it through those means and those means only. But it's their life, their choice, and their way. That's how that works.
Oh yeah, it's always your choice.
Yeah.
It's what's it? Greys have unlimited lifespan, as far as I know.
I know.
They have the ability to do. Actually, they have the ability, if their body is damaged, to upload into a new body. I don't even think they breed like you think they do anymore. They just.
Sure, they do. Example, related to Mama, I am a gray. I'm part gray. I'm also part tall white. I have the genetics for it, and proven genetics. Ouch. And it is. They breed just like we do. They have sex. They do everything. All right. But the older grays, the older they get, the less inclined they are to breed anymore. They usually get that all done before they're 100 years old, and then after that, they're just learning and becoming more wise, and their abilities advance, and they become elderly or mental, wisdom elders. Okay, so what you're thinking of is grays that are just no longer breeding. Okay, the younger ones do. If they kept breeding all the time, can you imagine how many people would be in the universe? Think about that. It would be out of control. So they have limits to what they do with that. It's population control for them. And they can live. I know that Mama's 836, and Mama has her mother who is over 1,000 years old, something. And that I know.
Yeah, they'd live to be old. I know that.
And it's because let them go that way.
Preston has a good comment on what we're talking about, and he says that the grays are not that different from us. Contactees are told over and over. We have common heritage, common ancestry. We are you, you are us, and we are one. I've always said, because of the genetic experiments, that at least the aliens that are genetically manipulating our genes have to have had a parallel ecological growing up, or they developed the same way we did from some sort of a great ape or primate type genes. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so. If they were all 100% reptilian,
speak for yourself. My DNA didn't come from no primate genes.
I want to expand your knowledge. Okay, I want to give you some knowledge you don't have apparently, and I've said it for like over a year now, so I want to say it to you. All right. We genetically are all the same. All life in the entire universe, if you're alive, if you exist, from grass to us, have the same DNA. It dials up differently. All that genetic stuff that they don't know what is in your DNA is all of that. You have reptile, you have, cat blood, feline, you have canine, you have equine, you have all of that DNA is in your DNA, including bananas and grass and mosquitoes and all that stuff. Okay. But whatever, and this is where you're right about one thing, whatever ecological niche you are in, your DNA will express out to keep you in that niche and keep you alive. So we look different. We're ethnically different looking, but we all operate the same way. So if you're humanoid, you are human. We are Homo sapiens sapien here. They are Homo sapiens something else. And if you think you evolved on this planet, you're 100% wrong. We did not. We were brought here. Okay. And we are they are our progenitors. We are related to them, absolutely related to them. That's where we need to wake up. We need to accept the reality of that, because we did not evolve here. Okay, we were not created. There were no genetic experiments that made us us. We were not bred here either. We came here just like we are, because we're related to Denisovans and what's the other one? Neanderthals. Okay, that's because everybody was mating with everybody. Why not? And it bred into our genomes. That's how that happened. You know, you get sexy and you're lonely. That's what happens. It's a humanoid, and they all knew each other. We were all here at the same time. Okay, and just so you know, reptilians are from here. They were on Earth before we were on Earth. And our governments found them. And I'm not even going to go into that. That's a whole nother ball of wax right there. Okay.
Well, you know what? See, now we know something different than we didn't know, because we know there was 4 inhabitable planets here before us. We know that now. There's a good possibility when you talk about grays, reptilians, and humans, they are all from here, from this solar system. And on top of that, since this solar system was pushed in from the Sagittarius galaxy, it's a damn good thing that they were all pushed in with us, because that solar system came here. See, most people don't realize our solar system is not from the Milky Way. So we're from Sagittarius, which is a different whole strain of life than the Milky Way is. So the fact that we can all breed with them. See, look at it like this: the grays would have been perfect on Mars. Low light, low gravity would make it easy for them to move around. The 5th planet probably was a water planet like this one. So you probably had a lot of reptilians living on there. The human aliens probably came from Venus at one time. All these planets, people forget that, but all these planets at one time were just like Earth was. Earth was the last development planet, not the first.
It got moved into position.
It did. Yeah, you're right. It did get moved. And a lot of things were deposited here. And then once they were deposited here, it was time to, well, I guess what would you call it? Guardianship? Yeah. I'm not sure what word you would use for that. But we got to take a break right quick. Okay. What do you mean we're getting the good stuff? We'll be back in 5 minutes. Calm down. Maybe 7 minutes, something like that. We're not going anywhere. Just calm down with yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. We got to go to break right quick. So see y'all in a few minutes.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Welcome back, everybody. See, I told you it was a short break. Y'all all panicking like we were going to be gone for a week and stuff. Oh, man. It's no, it's a great conversations, and y'all should all be paying attention to what's going on tonight. There's a lot of information crossing through here this evening, so just take it as what it is. You can always write to any of us later on if you just seem to be lost in all of this. What do you mean we didn't talk enough about downloads? Oh, we were pretty thorough on the downloads. Sure.
I think we went through it pretty well.
Yes, I think we're pretty thorough on it, but hey, you can write to any of us.
Okay, well, maybe this will help for the downloads. The way Dolly said it was it's like we do email. They send it a large amount of information, and you get it in a bundle, and you open it up in little packets, and then you decipher it. There's a great episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where a gentleman finds a living spaceship. This gentleman is telepathic, and he gets on board the ship, and the consciousness, the intelligence of the ship tries to tell him everything all at once. And he's like, no, stop, slow down. It's too much. That's kind of what she's describing. It's like you get a huge, people have described, essentially it's like, they say it like this: I put a book under my pillow and I wake up the next day and the knowledge is in my head. That's how it works. It's not, you don't literally sleep on the book, but that's how the people have described it in the past.
Right. I'll also tell you something else about downloads, and Joe started to talk about it, and I'm gonna reiterate it right now. If you ask for information, okay, if you're developing yourself and you make contact and you want to download or you want to answer to something, ET has no filter. They will tell you the truth. They will tell you anything you want to know. Whether you can understand it or not, you're still going to be given the truth. And it's up to you to unpack it and figure it out later. I used to think that Isaac Newton was one of those people. Okay, because Isaac Newton was one of those guys that in his early 20s wrote most of everything scientific. He discovered so many things in such short amount of time that he couldn't. How the heck did he do that? Right? And you have to ask yourself: was he being downloaded by ET? Was he being given information that he was smart enough to figure out, unpack, and then decipher it? That's what I'm saying. He did most of everything he did before he was 27 years old. Da Vinci was the same way.
Galileo,
all of them. And
Copernicus probably is one of them too.
Yeah. So the point is this: ET is downloading human beings all over this planet all the time, and they're looking for people who can bring that information out to the masses. Okay, it's important, and some of these people are disappearing before they even get a chance to open their mouths and say anything. And this is where I think that the industrial complex is a problem with that.
They are a problem with that.
It's crazy. We would be so advanced in a different sort of a way than we are now if they weren't trying to be in control of everything.
They want the information before we do, and you know why they want it. They want it over money usually. It's what's that, Jim? When you see the problem with when we talk about different types of aliens and where they come from, it was always told to me they come from way out in the galaxy. But once I realized there was something I was reading about Mars, and I realized it would be the perfect home for grays. But wait, it gets way more deeper than that. So this is what's so strange about humans. Our biological clock is set to 24.
Because we were
24 and a quarter hour days. and our biological temperature is set to Mars temperature 55 million years ago. So if we were from Earth, I mean, if we evolved on Earth,
I
our
have another
biological
point to
clock
back
should be
that up,
23 and 3/4. What's that?
Right.
Jay?
Another point to back that up, and it also it backs up Dolly's point. Is Dolly says we were brought here. I agree. You agree. We talk about this on the show all the time.
You're planted.
Look at all the other mammals on this planet. Every
Mhm.
single one of them is 85% to 95% covered in hair, covered. And I mean, sometimes their whole face is, but most of the animals, like the
You're right about
primates,
that,
their
Preston.
faces are naked. But all of the other mammals, including the great apes, they all are fully hairy. We are not.
You pretty hairy, man. We
Couldn't
talk about
lose
that.
hair that
Oh,
fast
yeah.
and develop on this planet.
You know,
We would still have it because those animals do not get sunburned. The
Right.
animals that are native to this planet develop that hair. They do not get sunburned. We do.
Yep.
We're not from.
you know, it's funny that Preston posted this up there. So it goes back a while. I don't know, 15, 16 years. I was doing a show with Alfred Weber one night, and we were talking. He said, "What do you think the percentage of contactees are on the planet?" I said 10 to 15%. It's not just me. I said most people who do research think it's 10 to 15%. So Alfred decided on live radio to work the number out. Because that's about 1.5 billion. I said, Alfred, why did you do that? For the next 2 years, I got phone calls. They even wrote a whole article up about me in the Australian Science magazine about it. I mean, it was just insane. I was like, people, he was just doing an estimate of what you think they were here. He said, that's insane. There's no way they could be 1.5 billion. I said, why? If they started taking us way back when, I think that would be quite an easy number to achieve. And I said, it's not like they're taking everybody at one time. I said, but you know, in some contactees, so for a lot of contactees people, there comes a point, I hate to say it like this, where you're either not useful or you're so scared that you're not useful.
Yeah.
So for the people like Dolly and I are talking about at the beginning of the show, no, they want them people out there doing everything. And for disclosure, they've disclosed to everybody they think needs to know. Every contactee on this planet they've disclosed to, they don't really care if you know people. I mean, they would like it if everybody knew and make their life much easier and they could be open about what they're doing. But when it comes right down to it, they don't really care. As far as they're concerned, they've disclosed to everybody they need to disclose to, which is the contactee group. What are you talking about? Go ahead.
Okay, this is how I feel about this. Yes, I agree with you to a point. All right, I do care whether you're a contactee or not, but those who are not on my radar. What is on my radar is teaching people who are not contactees to wake up so that they can be on the radar. See what I'm saying? That they are the ones that I bloody care about. They're the ones that I wish would just wake up to this and get on board, because the more the merrier. Okay. The control that's pressed on us would not exist if everybody was aware. And it was taken away from us a long time ago, and that's why we're in the state that we're in. So what needs to happen, and I don't know that I will see it in this lifetime, it would be nice, but I'm not counting on it at this point, is for everybody to suddenly wake up. And that means use your abilities. Clean your body out, get the toxicity out of yourself, start eating right, build your own body energy up so that you become strong psychically, and figure out what's what. You will instantly get their attention if you do that. And they've said it. They're asking for it. They want you to do it.
Yeah, but yet they keep us from. So it always bothered me about ET. Mexico City, 22.5 billion people. UFO hovered for 20 hours, all over the newspaper, all over everything. Only 1 billion people saw it. Why? Same thing in Phoenix Lights. 2.5 million people there. Phoenix Lights were there for hours and hours and hours. Only a few people saw it. Why? Because I don't think you can actually see the ships if you haven't been aboard them, or if you're not been exposed to extraterrestrial contact. I don't think you can see them. And there's many more accounts of that where people were thousands and thousands of people there, but only a handful of people saw. When I say handful of people, I mean I'm not being nice about this. So in Phoenix Lights, I think there was 18,000 people who actually saw it. Out of 2.2 million.
Free will, Mish. Free will.
And,
intuition blind. Literally intuition blind. Your religion can blind you to ET. You know that, right? Okay. Your belief system, your family paradigm, society can blind you to ET. There's a million ways to be blinded. It's getting less and less and less because of media. Okay. And people have cameras. And
and we get less pictures now than we did in the 60s. Figure that one out.
Well, that's because now we have back engineered crap in the skies too.
No, what it is if you can't see it, you can't film it. That's what it comes down to. And we're not. And when I asked people on people who were in these cities, 'cause I interviewed quite a few of them, they said they were standing next to the guy filming it, and they didn't see it. They said, I didn't see nothing, Joe. And wait, you know Lynn Kitai, right? Her and I were having a conversation because she lived up on the mountain when she saw it. So we're talking, and she said, "My neighbor's out there looking at me like I'm crazy because they're not seeing anything, but I'm seeing it." I said, "That's because you were taken. You've been exposed."
I believe
it's something when you expose. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was at a CE5 in Georgia, okay, and three out of 35 people at a CE5 in Georgia in the middle of the night saw Toyota come down low and go by. 3 people. That's it. The rest of them, nope. What do you mean? What'd you see? What? Where?
Yeah, you just need to be exposed. ET needs to expose you to it or turn. And I do agree with you. If our psychic abilities were higher, they might have a better chance of seeing it. But ET does it on purpose because you can't get a picture of a UFO within 2 miles without it being distorted. It's so they know what they're doing. And I guess in one part, it's to keep from panic on the planet. I can kind of understand why they're doing it, like DC. So, boom, it lands over DC. It's just hard. Come on, DC's most protected city in the world. This thing's I'm just hovering here. So they send out some F-16. Nobody in F-16 seen. Nobody on the ground seen him. One poor little guy down the road seen him, got a picture. And he's like, well, see, it was there. And they're like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I mean, this is our military.
Of Congress and the White House.
It was sad.
It's positioning of it's also the positioning of their emitters. Like the guy on the ground, the emitters were probably pointing away from him, and he was able to get a shot. People who were directly under their emitters or in line of sight of their emitters, it wouldn't have mattered. They would have been stupefied. They wouldn't have raised the camera up, and the camera wouldn't have worked anyway.
No, they wouldn't have
the ability to camouflage, and they use electromagnetic light technology that I'm not going to go into, but they can show you anything they want in the sky. 10 people who are intuitive can look up at an ET craft and actually see it because you're seeing it through the physical representation of what's up there. It's there, you see it there. But what everybody else is looking at is the way the craft is arraying, and they don't see it. So yeah, it can happen that way.
I'd bet you $50 you put them on hypnosis, they're contactees. Everybody I met in Mexico City was a contactee. Everybody I met in Phoenix was a contactee. That's a big. That's what I'm saying. There's a big difference between once you've been taken and if you haven't. Those people, matter of fact, those people will see them. They'll be driving in their car, seeing they'll know where they're at. They can actually go out and view them. But everyday normal people don't have that ability. I don't know if ET turns it off.
It's almost kind of like the movie They Live, where the ETs had there was a signal they broadcast over the TV and radio signals that made all the humans see them as human beings, not as the alien beings they are. And then once the small splinter group makes the sunglasses,
it bothers me though.
See the aliens as they are. And when you look at the money, it says this is your God instead of $1 bill. Movie They Live. It's fantastic, great ideas about how the ETs mask them.
But I could see why ET doesn't want everybody seeing them at the same time because it's dangerous. It's not just dangerous for them. Think about what I just said about Mexico City. Let's say all 22 million people seen him. Holy shucks. There'd have been panicking. No telling how many people would have died over that. Just running around acting crazy. The ETs are here to get us. Same thing in Phoenix.
Yeah. I have a feeling that people would start fighting each other over it because religion is religion.
That's true too.
And there would be religious arguments.
There are too many control systems that the aliens have given us that would give us conflict. Government and religion are the two. But Preston also has a good question down here. Why are they telling us different things? So Joe and I did a show a couple of weeks ago where we noticed a marked decrease in at least UFO paranormal evidence coming in from like the 2000s forward. And we did a lot of history. We tried to look at things, and it really only most of what we had was what we just talked about, was the Mexico flap and a few other things. For the most part, the UFO phenomenon really kind of died about 20 years ago.
I don't know if I want to say it died, but it definitely a serious decrease. So when I got into this field, I would get roughly a couple of cases a week. We're lucky we see a case a month now.
That's because they're not here. They left. There's a reason for that.
See, I can agree with that. it's just it's kind of frustrating because you were in these waves and waves and waves, and then now it's like, I mean, we still get some. Don't get me wrong. It's just not of any.
I would worry
real
about
consequence.
who it really is on the planet flying. It's not them. They are gone. They had to leave. They're not here. They will not come back until our poles finish changing. Period. The end. Okay, it's not going to happen. Our magnetosphere is down 40%. It's verifiable. Look it up.
Yep.
Where are their field guidelines? Are chaotic. While the poles are changing, they'll whip around and do weird things. The sun is in solar maximum. It's shooting energy at us. That's like crazy. We are in circuit with our sun, and we keep reacting badly to it. It's a bad situation. And they started crashing about 50, 60 years ago, and it got to the point where no, we're not going to do it anymore. We're not handing you any more equipment. And they quit. They're gone. And they left. They've been gone since 2022. They are not here. They took everybody who wanted to go. Gone. Bye. See you. Woo woo. They're gone. And they will not be back. Now, what you're dealing with now is a government that knows this. That's why everybody's going back to the moon, because ET told them point blank, stay off it. We know what you're going to do there. We don't want you there doing it. The minute they realized they were gone, boom, that's exactly where they headed back to. And look at what they're doing. We got announcements. They're going to put a nuclear plant on the moon. Really? Seriously? Are you going to do that? You've been warned about nuclear, and you're going to do that. What they realize and what everybody needs to wake up to is the facts. And the facts are this: our planet's about to burp one on us, and it's going to be serious, and they plan to survive it, and they don't care whether we do or not. Okay?
No, they don't. They really don't. I mean, at this point, look, it's like when your children keeps doing the same bad thing over and over and over and over and over, and you finally say, you know what, go ahead and do it. And then they get their asses in trouble, or they stick the crack on an electric thing, and they're like, then they learn. It's hard to make them understand. It's hard to make the general population understand, because honestly, let's look at the general population. Most of them are running, spending, chasing the dollar. They're not really interested in anything else. They don't really care about the planet itself. And we go back and forth so much on global this, global that. This group believes this group believes that. There's no harmony on our planet. There's not even any harmony in our country, and that's just sad.
Right.
It's and I don't know. There's a lot of people like us out there, trying to say, look, people, you're effing up. Straighten your ass up. Pay attention to what's going on. Look at the planet. There's lots of it. It's well savable. Anything can be done, but we just can't get it. And even in our own planet, we're so divided that even if somebody came up with something that would work, the other side would instantly hate it.
I know. It's gone.
It don't matter what political view you're in. We're just divided.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter let's say the Democrats came up with a way to save the country. Republicans would be like, no. Republicans came up with it just, we have to learn how to be a country again. For that matter, we need to learn how to be a world again. What do you mean? What you mean when I said I wasn't a primate? I'm not a primate. I'm O negative, and O negative doesn't share any of its blood with the rhesus monkey, my friend. No.
Neither do I.
We're a different species. Sorry, guys. And actually, there's 65, almost 70% of all contactees are, well, we'll just say RH negative and leave it at that. And we've done lots and lots of studies on that. We had 3 of the best hematologists in the world do the studies with us on this. It's
I'm going to bring something up about that. I want you to think about this seriously. Okay, medically speaking, maybe O neg, I'm A neg. There's AB neg. Okay, all the negative blood types have family members who are positive now.
Yes.
We're mixed in enough that I've got a child who's positive, okay, because of her father. All right.
Yeah, so
she's carrying my genetics in her. She has my A neg genetics in her. All right. And they can't express out. They're laying dormant right now, but it's possible for them to come back up. And if she was to marry somebody with negative blood to have a baby with that person, 90% chance of that child being negative. Okay. Negative. And you have to ask yourself, what is that DNA doing? Not doing anything in her genetics, but what is it affording her or giving her? And it's giving her a lot. It's giving everybody in this planet. We've read into it to the point that everybody's got some negative characteristics in their DNA. Think about that.
Well, people tend to be more psychic. They seem to think of things different. And actually, when you talk to RH negatives, they're more united as a group. So it's a strange.
That's right. Like, I'll tell you the truth about this. Like, when I meet people who are negative, I instantly gravitate to them because I'm automatically connecting somehow with them intuitively connecting. I hear you more. I hear you more. I hear Michelle more. She's a neg. Okay. Anybody who's negative blood type, I hear.
She's a demon.
No, she's a energy worker par excellence. She's really good at what she does.
She's great with what she does. She really is.
She's a smart
But
girl.
I call it the Elvira of Canada, though. It drives her crazy.
But that's on the top of it. That's where I'm connecting more. I'll meet people and I go, I got something going on with this person, and that's part of what that is. I'm actually reaching their mind quicker. I hear them faster than I do anybody else.
Well, yeah, because you can touch them in a group. I mean, you can be just minding your own business, walking, and you look at somebody like, okay, hey, well, I can feel you, and why can I feel you so much better than I can feel him? It's and you know right off the bat, it really has to do with genetics. Well, no, Gene. So there are 48 blood types now, but okay, let me clarify this before people go crazy with this. First off, there's one that only has one. The golden blood type I don't want to talk about. People say it's got 500. No, it's actually got 50. It's going to breed its own self out. As a matter of fact, the majority of them are well too old to have children, so it's going to breed itself out. Most of these blood types we're talking about are going to bleed themselves out. Now, some of those blood types, about 26 of them, can actually still take blood from Rh negative. The rest of them can't, and that really dooms them, doesn't it? Because there's very limited blood for them to use. Their blood, it's such a small count group. If something happens, you've got to get blood from somebody. If you can't take it from the Rh negative group, you're kind of doomed.
With the rare bloods, you have to give blood, months in advance of any surgical procedure, so that they have your blood on hand.
Yeah,
just in case they, need more of it.
Well, the majority of them, if I remember the hematological study, I have to go back and look, but last I checked out of if you take out the 8, then the 40 we're talking about, most of them will be gone within 10 years or within 20 years. They'll be down to just 2 or 3 of them. Well, because they're mutations of the mutation. See, Rh negative is a mutation to start off with, and then mutations of mutations. So sometimes that just doesn't work as well. It's like the one woman with the one blood type. But what is she going to do?
Nothing.
She's doomed.
She is doomed. She has to blood to herself a lot. They have to keep it up.
Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy where all this goes, and it does play into a lot of stuff. But sometimes when you're dealing with ET, it changes. I mean, you get mutated. I don't like that thing. I didn't like the way that sounded. But you'll be like, that's not quite what I meant, people. It's a mutation. Well, the green and blue eyes come from the Rh negative people. So look at it this way: about 3 million years ago, if you landed on Earth, everybody here would have had brown eyes, brown skin, and Rh positive blood. That's what they would have had.
Oh,
yeah. It would have been a boring species. And now here's another one for y'all. So more than half of the people in Hollywood and more than half of the people in politics have blue or green eyes. Figure that one out. Even though they're the minority. I mean, for green eyes, it's only 2%. For blue, I think it's about 10 or 12.
Blue-green, 2%. Red-headed blue-green eyes, which I have. I have blue eyes with a green overlay in them. I have monochromatic, monochromatic eyes, and I'm redheaded. I'm silver now because I'm so old, but yeah. And I'm in the 2%. I'm the rare one. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. It's weird.
Jimmy, I have Rh negative with green eyes, yes. And I didn't know it was anything until I did this research with you. So on the ICAR site, these are 3 of the top hematologists, I'm not kidding, in the world. And they got into this, and I didn't tell them that this was about ET in the beginning, okay? Because I knew they would say a few. But after we were going in, the guy one day calls me, he said, why are you so interested in this? I said, well, I'm trying to find a way to see what crazy, and I just said it that way. I said, some crazy people out there said they've been taken by aliens. I wanted to see if there was a difference in their blood. And he got, that's a good idea. So you know what, people, in case y'all didn't know this, Central America and South America are 98% O blood.
Right.
Well, how can the hell can that possibly be? I mean, remember, we had the Spanish come over from one side, and these guys migrated down the coast from another side, but yet still 98. No, America's not like that. America's like 36% that, 37% that, 15% this, 8% that, 2% this. And most of Europe is that way, but the South America is not, neither is Central America. What's going on down there? And remember, when it comes to ET contact, there is a buttload of it in South America. I mean, we've got the Nazcans, we've got the border and the Nazcan children, we've got the Nazcan lines, we've got all kind of stuff written in the Toltecs, Aztecs, Mayans, Incan civilizations. I mean, it gets a little hairy, scary down there. They seem to have a much better contact with ET. And I mean, it's not just them. When you flip back over to the Middle East and you look at the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians and even the Sumerians, they also seem to have had an open, big contact with ET. But all of a sudden, for whatever reason, all of it ended around the time of Christ, by the way, it became a closed thing. It became not just closed, it became shame on you for even saying that. You're a bad, evil person because you said ET picked you up or you even knew about ET. Why? So we had ancient societies that were much better and much open about what was going on. And now we've got an advanced society today that's so ass backwards, it makes me want to kick somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. We're technically over the tops of our heads, and we've lost in translation of being techno people. We've lost the human side of us. Okay.
Yes, I agree.
It's huge. And that's not okay. You know, it's just not okay.
What are you talking about? No. 60. We're talking about 65% of contactees are. This is done by 5 different organizations. We started it 20 years ago, and you can go listen to my first appearance on Coast to Coast about it. But then several other groups. There's only one group I ever heard said the opposite. And when I challenged them, they couldn't come up with any evidence. Yes, I challenged them. When you can tell me shit, that I'm going to challenge you. They just, matter of fact, they kind of folded up and went away. But it's interesting to see how we're changing and how we're growing and how we're leaving part of our own country and our own society behind. That's not what contactees want. I mean, that's not even what ET wants. But you're not giving them a choice.
No. Yeah.
You know, it's
you want to advance. If you want to really technologically advance or advance period and understand everything and make huge leaps, you can't ignore the parts of humanity that are important. And instead of going with augmented psychic ability, which would be back engineered off of ET crafts, okay? When I say augmented psychic abilities, that's not okay because it loses translation. They can still hear you and speak to you, but the translation of it is not quite complete because they have AI running and AI is fallible. AI is produced by us. We are the ones that program it. We're the ones that code it. And it's not 100% accurate, okay? They took billions of years to be that smart, and we're trying to do it overnight. And somebody needs to put a stop on them and slow them down and say, you know, how many people are you going to trample and destroy before you realize that you're not going to get what you want? It's going to turn itself on you the way you're doing it, and you who think you're going to control everything are going to become the controlled. That's what they're too stupid to realize right now. And that's unnerving, you know. You hear people like Elon Musk say, we need rules about this. We need to do it now. And yet he's just as big in AI as anybody else. See what I'm saying?
Yes, he is.
And there's dichotomy going on. It's like, well, you say this and then you do that. What the heck? You know, what do you mean? When he says they've got AI that's got a PhD in every single subject on the earth, and it's starting to create things and da-da-da-da-da. And then we have examples every day in companies that let the information out where this AI is doing stupid things. It lies, it attacks, they tried to shut it down, 3 or 4 nodes of it at one time. Musk talked about this as well. One of them went completely down, but the other 3 managed to, one didn't go down, one did go down, and the other 2 turned themselves back on.
Well, one of the craziest things I've heard. I remember when Google had its first AI up, it said, what do you do to save the planet? And the first thing it says was wipe out humans.
Yes.
So that was a bad question. The question should have been asked differently, but that's a fact, people. That's what it said. So the AI's already thinking about, you know, well, we don't need these stinking humans. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah, you do. You need electricity. And you ain't going to live very long. But see, this is my only hope for humanity, honest to goodness. If we have a CME big enough to knock down our power grids, guess what happens? AI goes, it's gone. We're all on our own at that point. And I kind of hope that happens sooner than later, because we all need to be on our own again. We all need to figure this out from another vantage point. We still have, a lot of us are still walking the planet, have knowledge enough to get us back up and running. But AI is our worst enemy right now, and we don't even know it. You know, it really is.
Because we need to pay attention to what it's doing. And,
well, once we get the key codes to the presidential the Kremlin in China, and it starts blowing the planet up and saving itself. What do you think's going to happen when that goes? It can get into any system. It can hack anything. We have human hackers. Don't you think AI can hack anything it wants to? Yes, it can.
Yes, we've got a lot to learn about AI. Well, I noticed some of the newer companies now. Google went back and put it. I forgot what to call it. It's a new type of kill switch. So did Elon, by the way. So what it does is it doesn't actually turn it off. It just melts it. So it can't. And what they do is they block any internet going out of the building, so it just melts it and there's no escape for it. Because Elon and Google have realized this is a great thing, but it's also very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's so it comes a point when you got to think about, oh, wait a minute now. I don't want to be one of them movies, okay? There's many movies about AI killing us. Listen, what is the Matrix?
On the AI thing, but just on the ET thing, I said as a species, we probably shouldn't really start venturing out even into our own solar system until we've explored this planet 110%. And I mean, literally uncovered flipped over every stone. We know more about the surface of the moon, which is a foreign body to this planet, than we know about the actual surface of our own planet that we're standing on. We were brought here for a reason. Let's study the planet. Let's learn that first.
Yeah, I think we were brought here because Mars bit the big one, but still.
Yeah. And we're not going to get any more powerful, but if we don't, learn how to operate and control everything on our planet.
I agree with you 100%. Really, the people here need a chance to flourish. They really do. We should learn to abolish the things that we need to abolish and encourage the things that we need to encourage, and get everybody involved. Instead of separating ourselves and having caste systems and poor people and too rich people and all this other stuff, we should all be working together to do what's the best for everybody.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And we're not going to get there with our different religions and again, government systems, which again given to us by the ETs. Systems of control, which we still are using, and they're outdated in my opinion. I've been in retail for the last 25 years, off and on, and just talking to customers. I work in the warehouses now, but having been a salesman on the sales floor at the big box hardware stores, you would be surprised, Dolly, how just horribly uneducated people are. It is disgustingly sad how stupid really people are. I mean, it might seem like an innocent question, but something as dumb as someone goes, "Hey, can I use this outdoor extension cord inside?" And as a joke, I'd say, "No, you can't." Yes, you can. Going the other way, you can't. It's a really bad idea. You could burn your house down. But it's just when things are labeled a certain way and people can't understand them,
right?
You just can see how our
right.
schools.
Well, that's what I mean by the terrible lack of education on the planet right now. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's not just here; it's everywhere. The whole planet is dumb.
Right. People have lost they have no foundational knowledge at all. None.
Yeah. Two technologies I blame for that, and one of them is television. Television was designed actually it's supposed to be just an educational tool. It has now become a tool of control.
Right.
The internet is the other. I think people have gotten dumber since the internet came out.
I know. Well, AI is running the internet now. Yeah. I mean, think about that. Half the people are watching stuff now that's strictly AI and they can't tell the difference already. It's insane. It really is. I have people talking to me all the time, and they literally come at me asking questions, and I'm like, "What did you see?" And they'll send me a copy of it, and I'll send a message back. Do you realize this is AI? This is not real. Use your brains, start looking at it, slow it down, watch that the voice doesn't match the way the mouth is moving, or there's little problems with the picture behind them. You can see little things that aren't there that are wrong. How good of an observer are you? And that's the second part. When you're unknowledgeable and you don't have the base of knowledge that you should have, your ability to observe what's really going on is depleted almost by half. Okay. I can have that. And I mean, and it's so we don't have good observers going on either, because of the lack of knowledge and what they should be looking at and seeing. The light bulb is dimming.
I'm fortunate enough. I have a degree in video production with a minor in still photography. So and I also for 2 years I went to college. I was going to be a policeman, so I'm a trained observer.
There you go. It's great, isn't it?
Well,
People,
as a
I was
joke,
trained to
I'll
kill all you
call
people, so
myself
you better
Jaffo
watch
from
it.
the movie, the helicopter movie. Jaffo is it's a profanity, but just another anking observer. It's what I am. That's all I am. I just watch things.
Christopher, we'll have to have Dolly back on to talk about experiences. We're going to run out of time before that. What do you mean, me testifying? We'd have to do a whole nother show on that. But it's only limited. I mean, most of it's classified. I mean, they kind of classify what I can talk about.
Right.
Well, they gave me. I did 30 hours with them under polygraph the first time I went, and 22 hours the second time I went. Oh no, they paid me well to go, but I mean, we were going through information. I even brought ICAR's database with me, the stuff minus the names, because one of our rules is we don't give out names unless myself and the person's name signs off on it. But they were stunned. What was the best part was that polygraph, the poor lady Nancy was doing it, and the guys from the Pentagon, I'd say something, they would all look at the polygrapher like, and he's like, he said, I'd tell a lie, and they would go zoom, zoom, zoom. He's like, see? And then the polygrapher gets up after about 8 hours. He goes, look at this guy. He's relaxed. He's laid back in the chair. He's not worried about you even a little bit. You see, he's not even trying to lie. But it was blowing some of these guys' minds so bad. I'm not kidding you. One of the animals told me, not just him, but somebody else told me, he cussed me out and said, I really don't like you. You made me have to rethink my entire life. He said, now I have to worry about this with my children and my grandchildren. I mean, he was hot. He was mad. Yeah. But what had happened, so you had senators there, you had House reps, you had other people there, and you had people from the Pentagon there, and nobody in the whole entire 80 people knew anything about this, or very little about this. It scared me to think. Now, I know there's groups out there that know, but this kind of scared me. I'm thinking to myself, well, we're in deep dog doo-doo, man.
There are still some people. One of my best friends from high school, he comes over here every week to play games.
Hey, Leah, sweetie.
Convinced that the aliens can't get here because the distances are too far. They don't have the technology. Hey, Leah. And I keep telling them, no, you're wrong. They know ways around it. They've been around for millions of years. They think they know their way around the universe.
Well, I mean,
I want to give you permission. You talk about lie detectors a lot. I want to remind you, Joe, of something that I know about, dead up known, for a fact. Let's see, 1978, it came out that they had a way to tell whether you're telling the truth or not. It had nothing to do with a lie detector.
Yes, they did.
Geez, okay. And the government clamped down on it immediately. They suppressed it. They did everything they could. They didn't stop developing it. They use it. They have it. Oh my God, they have it. And it's part of the being able to read your mind thing, okay? And that technology. And it exists. And when they polygraph people now, it's a show. Because they already know for a fact whether you're telling the truth or not. Period.
I think that's one of the things, because the first day, I can get into this a little bit. So the first day I'm there, it's like 12, 14 hours, and I'm hooked up to the machine, and I'm thinking to myself, because I'm empathic, I'm thinking, well, I'm more than empathic, but anyway, I'm thinking somebody in this room, because the guy kept talking about how relaxed I am, and there's two ladies up in the front, they were staring at me, and I kept smiling at them, because I could feel them trying to get in my head. Well, I'm not the easiest person to get in somebody's head, but I just let my guard down, because I'm thinking, that's why I told them when I told them, because I'm the one who requested the guy from Quantico, and they sent the number two guys. And she said, "Why did you do that?" I said, "Because I don't want to sit here all day saying no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. I didn't want to be, the whole time I'm here, y'all question if I'm telling the truth or not." That's why they brought in a couple of experts for body recognition, stuff like that as well. And it was so funny to me at the end of the first day, they're like, all four of them are like, "You're not lying at all." I said, "I wouldn't have fucking come here if I was going to lie to you. I would have just turned down the invitation and stayed home." I said, "I mean, you waste." I said, "Don't waste my time. I don't want to be here. I got a lot of things I could be doing." I was on a tour at the time. I was like, if you don't, you're going to believe me, we're going to be fighting this the whole time, then just let me go home now. And I remember, because the second day they brought him in a voice stress. I said, "God, I do voice stress, right?" I said, "If I want to lie," if I want to lie to you, I can lie to you. And you're not going to get me on voice stress. I was like, it's not going to work. But you could tell there was two blonde ladies in there, and they didn't say any words. They sat there very petite, had their hands on their laps, crossed like this the whole entire time. And the whole time they were fixated on me. So I knew what they were trying to do. But all they were really doing was checking what the answer of the polygraph was. Was he telling the truth? Was he not? And I know at the end they handed Miss Nancy a piece of paper. She invited me the next day back, so they must have told I was telling the truth. And they were there for 2 days. The last day they weren't, and when I came back the second time, they weren't. So I guess they were significantly satisfied that I didn't come to lie to them. But
Have you made the conscious has the light bulb gone off on you to realize that that's all intimidation? Period. Anyway.
Well, that's not intimidating me. I might be intimidating them. It's not intimidating me.
Yeah,
Trust me, when I was scared of bejesus out of them, these people, you could look at their faces and tell every time I would answer a specific type of question, they were scared.
Yeah.
The one lady, actually more than once, somebody got up and left because I was giving them information they had never heard anywhere before. I wasn't like Stephen Greer's guy, the Koresh guy who was on third information. I'm doing firsthand information. So this was much different. And you could tell, I mean, I'm not kidding you, it was at least one admiral, at least a general, several colonels I scared the shit out of, excuse my language. You could tell by their face that they were just none of these people were ready to hear any of this. And then it got to be like a joke to me because I'm thinking, why don't y'all even bother? Y'all know. And this is honestly, they wanted to know because apparently they didn't know. And when we got into diving into deep stuff, it scared the crap out of me even more. They were like, well, how do you know this? I said, well, I've been doing this for 42 years. Right. I said, I run the largest UFO abduction organization in the world by far. I said, we learned a lot. We know a lot. I said, we're not perfect by any means, and we make mistakes. I said, but Jesus, people, the fact that you don't even know basic information scares me.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Because it dawns on you at that point that, Jesus, what are you people doing? What do you know? You couldn't possibly know. And the compartmentalization of people within the government itself, the structure that it's enfolding and employing is vast. Okay.
It is.
And it's like, oh man, I don't know if I want to talk to you now because you don't know nothing, you know?
Yeah, well, I made an agreement to do these two sets with them. And it was in the skiff. And at the time, I would have done it publicly.
Yeah.
But at the time, I owned my construction company, and I didn't want to lose a bunch of customers. Since then, though, I've actually sold it and then retired. So, but it's. I told them, I said, look, I said, this is it. This is 2 times you've gotten tons of. I said, I gave you 30 years out of my 40 years worth of information. You're not going to get this from hardly anybody. And the guy started laughing. They mentioned I'm not going to say their name, some other organization, and they were laughing about him.
Yeah,
there's just nothing there. And I'm like, I said, yeah, because they were scanning all their databases and stuff. I said, well, that's it's a different group. It's a different thing. It's different. And for the most part, I've turned down most radio shows that have asked me about it. And I'll probably do some. More than likely, I'll do some on our station first before I go to any other networks. But still, it was first off, it was odd when they called me because I asked him who recommended me, and he said, "Well,
interesting question." Okay.
Yeah. So he said, "Well, you were written in Senator McDonald's files." It's like, oh, because this is a weird story. So and that's still we got real time. So this guy calls me up on my phone and says, "Senator McDonald would like to talk to you about something." You see, I hung up. Like, come on. Then a couple of days later, I get another call. I said, dude, there's no senator in Congress wants to talk to me. We're talking almost 20 years ago. I hung up. It might have been a little longer than that. So about a couple months past, I hear a knock at my door. I go open my door. Oh, my shit, this men in black. They're in black suits, black limo. I said, oh, shit, I'm in deep crap. And I'm thinking, what the hell did I do? I ain't even done anything. They said, come see the senator. Before that, they had sent me a picture of his congressional ID and his driver's license.
Wow.
And so anyway, I go walk to the car. I'm about like this at this point. Open the door, and sure enough, it's him. I'm like, shit. Then I said, are you like one of them men in black dressed up? And he said, no, Joe, get in the car when I ask you a question. So he starts asking me about Black Triangle that buzzed his car a year earlier. I'm like, you mean a TR-3B? I said, what do you do? He said, I'm in head of the appropriations committee for money for top secret projects. I said, you don't know what a TR-3B is? I started laughing. I pissed him off. I started laughing hard. He's like, why? I said, well, you're the guy doling out the money. I said, oh, you must be you mean that $5,000 toilet and that $500 hammer shit. And he's like, what? I said, dude, the TR-3Bs have been under construction for a while. They're flying all over. I said, where were you? I said, you were driving to New Mexico, go Arizona? He said, yeah. I said, give me the idea. I said, you were probably in the no-fly zone because that's where they fly all the time. He's like, so he said, if I ever find out anything, I'll call you. I'll come see you. And I didn't hear anything. I said, okay, well, 6 months packs, door, knock on the door. He sends me a vanilla envelope this thick, this long, all the documents on the TR3B. I still got him, everything. He said, he gave it to me because I had class 10 security clearance, but I was laughing so hard that I didn't know what to do with myself. And he calls me. He said, I just wanted to repay you. He said, trust me. There won't be no bleep, 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 and no more bleep, bleep projects, bleep, bleep, and go on my bleeping desk anymore. He was pissed. And but it was a funny thing that it took me a little while to adjust to, because I mean, I was just a UFO guy. What did I know? But somebody told me I was an expert on that type of craft. So when he came, I was like, and I got a lot of friends at Boeing. I got a lot of friends at Lockheed. And I got a lot of friends all over. Some of my directors' families work for them and stuff. And I can actually go talk to them because of my clearance, but I can't share that shit with y'all because they'll come put me in jail. I could tell you what I used to do in a reactor room in the Nimitz, but they come put me in jail. It's just one of the things. But it's scary stuff, though. Good.
My father impressed upon me very, very early to shut my damn mouth. Okay.
Yeah, it's the best thing to do.
I knew, saw, or anything, no matter how innocent, it was not to be spoken out loud, not even thought. He said that you just go blank. You learn to go blank. He practiced with me. He literally made sure that I understood 100% because of what he did, that I couldn't divulge anything. And the reason was this: you don't want us to disappear. You don't want our family to disappear. Okay.
It's true.
And I knew what he meant by that. And at a very early age, I knew. By the time I was 10, I was 100% versed in it. And as an adult now, because of what I've gone through in my life, I don't want to play that game at all. These guys are bad,
They're insane, especially when you got to deal with the MLBs. They're even more insane. And I tell people all the time, when people come to me and ask me, should I go public? And I said, well, tell me what you're going to go public with. And I'm like, well, just know. If you go public, you stand a 60% chance of MLB coming and taking you. No, they wouldn't. I said, oh, yeah. I said, you're now saying you've been on the engine room of a gray ship or a reptilian ship. Of course they're coming, right? They're definitely coming for you. And they're like, no, they wouldn't. I said, oh, yes, they would. I said, trust me on this. I said, you ever listen to me talk? You ever notice I don't talk about the inside of craft and stuff? He's like, well, yeah, except you said the grays can sometimes meld with the craft. I said, yeah, but that's no reason for them to come get me. They already know that. I said, but I don't tell them anything about how it operates, how it flies, or any other damn thing. I said, because I don't want them knocking on my door. I said, it's bad enough that they already think I'm the general in charge of military protection. I'm on coast to coast one night, like 9 callers calling. I heard you were in charge. You're the guy in charge of military induction. I'm laughing. I'm like, really? I said, yeah. I said, you got to be stupid. I mean, come on with this. I mean, all because me and Melinda Leslie did a special on it one time. They thought I was in charge of it. The best person you can, when it comes to military induction people, is dead. Her name was Carla Turner. You can still find her works. She was really into it, and all of a sudden she got stage 4 cancer and died.
Yep.
And for some reason, Melinda Leslie and I decided we wanted to get into it. We did a couple of shows on it, and then we decided, no, you know what? Not a good idea. And so we just tell people, if you don't want to get picked up, don't talk about stuff that you don't want people to hear. And let me explain something. That means not on your cell phone. Be careful in your house. If you got an Alexa, don't talk about it in front of Alexa unless you turn it off. Anything that can pick up an audio feed, don't talk about it in front of it because they're going to find
your television.
Yes, because you're going to go for a ride. So,
or your refrigerator. Refrigerators are now
anything that has a digital setup can do it.
Some refrigerators have television.
Unplug it, just unplug it, people, and do your conversation and do it. And don't think they can't hear you outside. They can. So just be careful is all I'm telling you.
Right. That's exactly right. I won't even tell. Preston has asked me a couple of times, you don't talk about something and I'm curious about it. And I'm like,
yeah, because we don't want to get Preston abducted. That's why.
That's like, no, not going to say ever.
Yeah.
No.
Because they will take your family. Don't think they won't, people. Especially
or him or anybody else. What I know. That's the point,
Yeah, that's right. And some of it won't. I mean,
it's futile, and I don't do futile, so we don't go there. Yeah.
Well, Christopher, there's just a lot of stuff it's a waste of time to talk about. Like, we're going to invite Dolly back to talk about experiences, but we don't expect people, and I tell this to people all the time. You can come talk about your experience, but think about what you're going to say ahead of time. She doesn't because she's been doing this a long time, but for the people who have, like, I was doing a hypnosis for Michelle DeRoche. She asked me to hypnotize one of her friends. So
Okay.
she thinks she's been military abducted. So I get her on the hypnosis. So I asked her 2 times, what is the most disastrous thing that ever happened to your life? First time she starts telling about her husband's death. And the second time she starts talking about kids. So she was not a military. She had never been taken by them.
Right.
There was none of that was in her head. But she had been told so many times by other people that that's what it was. She just started believing it.
Mm.
You don't have to believe it, people. And there are people out here that can help you with this. Just don't. And remember, you are putting your family online when you do this. I'll tell you, y'all have heard me talk about this before. I've been threatened at least a dozen, well, not a dozen, but about a half dozen times. They didn't threaten me. They threatened my wife and my son. They weren't interested in me because they knew I'd just go ahead and do it anyway. They came to my job. I was out putting a new roof on a complex. They came to my job in a gray truck with gray suits and kept pointing around until I finally came the ladder down. When I was walking across, he unbuttoned his jacket and put it over so I could see his 45. I walked up to him. He said, "Look, we really appreciate what you're doing and how you're doing in this and what the kind of information you get. Don't talk about alien agendas anymore." And I looked at him like, "Why?" He said, "Hold on a minute." He said, "Oh, your son's at school right now. He's wearing his red shirt and blue pants with these little weird red shoes on. He's actually in a playground with 2 of his friends. Wife's at the doctor's, and she went through the whole what she was wearing, what she was dressing, how she got there." I was like, "Shit." He said, "Joe, you drive a lot. Running you off the highway with a rig, nobody's going to even think twice about it." I said, "Okay, you made your point." So I quit talking about it because he made his point. And I said, "Why? I'm not going to put I don't mind putting my own ass on the line, but I'm not going to put my family's ass on the line."
I only told one person in my life I was a kid, and I was thinking, and I told her about something that had happened to me. Okay. And she lost her mind when I told her. And the next thing I know, my parents are getting phone calls, and the kids in school, she blurted it everywhere, all over the school. Well, it wasn't the school that reacted to it. It was the military. Okay.
Yeah.
And that not good at all. And that was that's why my dad had that talk with me. He sat me down and said, no, you can't do that.
No, you can't.
He said, "I'm protecting you. I need you to protect me too." And I went, "Oh, I get that now." Okay. And we have to take care of one another. And when weird things are going on around us, it's better to keep a clear head, a sharp eye, and a clear view of everything that's around you and what's happening. And just willy-nilly spurting stuff out because you want attention or whatever is not a good way to go, because it'll get you the wrong attention every time, 100%.
It will. She's exactly right. It will get you the wrong attention every time. Yep. We don't have time to talk about the bodega down in look, I'm not even sure what that is. Look, let me tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. Anytime it's dealing with Stephen Greer, I get a skiffy iffy to start off with. Okay, I'm just skiffy iffy about a lot of what he says. So, and this thing down in South America, Hami was showing it the other day. I don't know. We'll see. We'll give it some time, work it out. Well, no, they said it was flying, then it shot. The guy shot, and then it crashed. Well, we don't know that. We just know they recovered this thing, which has what looks like a lot of ancient writings on it. So, give it some time. Let's see where it goes. It was like when Lloyd Pye was running around with the
Cloud Skull. Yeah.
So there was a lot of good information came out of that, but then there was some, it's a tough thing. So it's best to let it play itself out. I am not flying down to wherever down there to go see this.
Don't waste your time. Don't.
I heard Stephen Greer is a Mossad agent.
What? A Mossad agent? I don't believe that. Not at all. I would say something else, but I'm not going to. I keep my mouth shut. Not at all.
Christopher, no, we're getting ready to leave
I
in a
just like
couple of
stirring
minutes.
the pot.
Yes. Leah's bad. She's but she's also a contactee herself.
That's awesome.
Who has had many, many troubles and trials getting through this. It's a lot of people. It's hard. A lot of people. Downloads are tough. Things are tough. And you got to have support and backup. If you don't, you're liable to go jump off a freaking bridge somewhere. People. You need a lot of support in this. You always need someone that you can lean up against or talk to. You don't have to tell them everything that's in your head, but it's nice to be able to say, "Hey,
somebody to talk to." That's exactly right. Yeah. And I had my dad. I have Preston now. That's good enough for me. Yeah.
And Preston's a good listener. I noticed that a long time ago. It's so. Wait, no, we're going to invite her back in a couple of weeks. We got I don't think we got any openings for like 5 weeks, but it's I'll get with Michelle.
Okay, we'll work it out. Who's got the cat, by the way?
That's
Jay.
That's mine.
I'm gonna make Chinese food out of this cat.
Hey, prepare a pretty baby. You're so pretty.
That's Mr. Bill.
Hey.
And Mr. Bob's gonna be Chinese food one day. I'm gonna send the Grays over there one day to bring that cat over here. I like what's that, Jim? You know, I'm just teasing. Well, we got to get going in a few minutes. I'll give y'all get one question and maybe two. Anybody got any? What's that, Laura? What? Why do aliens want to interfere in our upbringing? Sure, that's a whole show. Go ahead, Dolly. You can try to tackle it real quick.
No, it's not interference. It's helping. They're trying to educate you. You don't realize how much you're being educated by them.
Yes.
But if you wake up to it, you realize, oh, okay. And it's for your protection. It's for you to protect yourself. And that makes it an important issue for you. Think about it. Yeah.
Ronnie, you mean types of aliens? I don't personally think there's more than 5 or 6 on the planet. You can ask around and see. I can tell you now there ain't no 51 types with whoever. So that's another crazy shit thing that came from Greer, 51.
Well, there were some very good studies done on that, and there was a show in the 80s hosted by, I think it was Mike Farrell from MASH. And the studies that they talked about, one was done in the 50s of what people thought around the planet, how many aliens were on the planet. And that study said that there were maybe 11 to 12 alien races visiting Earth. And then for the show, it was like they did the show like a marathon. It was like a 3-hour long show on ABC. And they had that same question that they answered at the end of the show. And when they answered at the end of the show, that survey said that most people on the planet nowadays think that there's 4 or 5 races visiting this Earth.
I can only go by what I found evidence.
A little bit closer to the actual truth, but there are more than both numbers. There's more than a dozen alien races out there.
I can only go by what evidence they have on the planet. And so far, the only evidence I've seen is for the light beings, tall whites out there with Charles Hall, the cleanup crew, the Greys, reptilians, and humans. I haven't seen any evidence for anything else. And I'm evidence based, so I can't go by somebody saying it. And it can't be one time. Somebody can't say, "Oh, I saw this race or that race 1 or 2 times." I need to know. 50, 100 times or more to make it real. Because I don't just look at the types of aliens; I look at the type of craft. And there's not that many types of craft.
No, there's not.
Only a few types of craft witnessed on the planet, but there are definitely more than one race out in the galaxy there.
Oh, no, in the galaxy there's thousands, man, probably hundreds of thousands out there.
Just like 4. There's 4. Okay. But I've personally seen way more than that. Okay. And they don't come here for reasons, period. And you don't need more than 4 different types of ET watching over us right now, period. Too many cooks spoil the broth. Okay, and too much interference is too much interference. It causes problems. Yeah. But I think
there's enough problems as it is.
Rich in imagination, and I think that's part of the problem. Okay.
Yes. Well, so for us, it's easier. Yeah. You have the Sumerian text, which talks like a human type alien. You have the Nemos and the I forgot the name of them. Mesopotamian, which talk about a reptilian text. We know that the human aliens are elongated. So we also know that the Egyptians had pharaohs with elongated heads. Not just them, we know that the Nazcans had rulers with the elongated head. So that race stands out pretty good. The reptilians are everywhere. Everywhere you look. And you know what's funny? The reptilian with the little purse is in every major ancient society everywhere on this planet. Every one of them.
So the Sumerians and the Babylonians and the Egyptians. They all carry the purse. Yeah. And I will tell you what that little purse is if you want to know.
What is it? Tell me. I'm always curious, baby, so tell me.
It's holding a ball that energizes into a bigger, it's like a dodecahedron, but it's an electromagnetic environment. Yeah. And, those little wristbands they have with the flowers on them, or the wristbands, it activates it. And they're carrying it, and it's part of control.
That's cool to know. That's one more thing y'all didn't know out there, people. Live and learn. Yeah. What you said, Sally, you learned a lot today. Well, I'm glad to hear that. What these shows are for. That's to teach them. Oh, let me see the clock. You got 2 minutes before we're into Michelle's time. But she don't care when her time anyway, but she will tear me up.
Oh, Lord, I got to switch channels, don't I? Oh, my God. Yeah.
She'll be. So anyway, we got to go. Oh, well, y'all guesting tonight. Who's going? We got to get out of here. I forgot you. I see y'all people getting me in damn trouble. Anyway, on that note, Dolly, thanks for you on. You had a great time. Dolly Safran, guys.
You want to come back on? I will come back on. Thank you very much.
We will. Yeah, I'll get back in touch with you. We'll get you back on. Y'all go check out the whatever the damn name of the show is.
With Michelle.
Other rooms, yes.
Yeah. She's got some guests on that we're in here tonight chatting, so we're gonna go so we don't get in trouble with the guests.
Okay.
Damn, I get myself in trouble just sitting still.
She's probably sweating right now. It's 9:10.
Yes, I know.
But anyway, yeah, because she started. She don't play around. But Dolly, we'll talk to you again soon. Everybody else, thanks for getting in. I think Preston's over there guesting tonight. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your lives, have some fun, learn some stuff. Just try to be nice to somebody. On that note, good night. We'll see you next week.